Okay, we're here with David Bianco, our old friend, at his studio. What does this studio have a name?
It's called Dave's Room.
Dave's Room. I
Pretty,
like it.
pretty catchy.
This, for those that don't know, tell us some of your credits.
Once you were a straight shot, a shiny quarter in a new slot.
I think that's where you first probably ran into the Mojave mics, right?
That's
at
right.
Mad Dog?
That's right. That was, yeah, and that was a real life changer there. It was so good to have a microphone that, you know, just covers the spectrum like the 100 was doing, and the 200. I guess it was the 200 back then.
The
right?
200 was the first one.
The first
right,
one,
the
the
large
200.
diaphragm tube condenser.
Yeah.
Which I see a pair of those out there over a drum
Yeah,
kit.
right now they're over. They're using them as as overheads, but I mean, I use them. They fit every situation. I've used them on piano and had a lot of success with them as vocal mic. They've just been great. Acoustic guitar, man. Rooms, anything for ambience if ever I need it, I put those up, and they were great. I had the actress Megan Mullally was here. We did a Broadway record, and I had a Mojave just a couple feet away from her, and she was like whispering, and then she would do loud stuff, you know, on top of it, get into like whole Ethel Merman mode almost, and it would just work perfectly for that. It was a great application
Right,
for it.
the
And
dynamic range held
the
up.
Oh, it was just, yeah, wonderful. And I was really pleased with my room because from whispering on one of the busiest corners in Los Angeles here, during rush hour, you couldn't hear any rumble or anything, which I was really pleased about. But the Mojave was fantastic. Really
Do you remember
great.
what preamp you were using?
I think I was using at that time an API. I've set this room up so that I have, I'm not limited to one color. I always have loved Neves, but I also have loved SSLs, and I've loved API and Quad 8, and so I have a potpourri of them. With that particular instance, I believe it was API. I have a modified Avitas API that sounds
cool.
great.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
She was, well, she's a wonderful
Amazing singer.
Gorgeous
yeah,
voice. Yeah, and great songwriter. And she, you know, she really can emote. And the Mojave was terrific. It covered everything. And also, you know, when it came time to mixing, I really didn't have to do anything to it. I would put a leveling compressor on it and call it a day. Sometime, depending on how edgy the song was, we had some songs that were maybe a little more aggressive. I might have tweaked a little top end or mid into it, but for the most part, it was flat. And what was great about it was I hadn't gotten so many, you know, compliments on my vocal sound, you know, before that, you know, and it just goes, you know, stands to reason you do all this work and, you know, and tweaking mics and stuff, and then you put that one up and bam, it was like automatic. It was really great. It was, even her dad was complimentary. She passed on an email from her father saying it was the best she's sounded on record. So
Hey, when Dad likes it, you know you've nailed it.
Once you were a straight shot, a shiny quarter in a new slot. Night would keep the dreams that you got for afternoon. Then telling the truth got so hard. We were dancing in the backyard. Once I knew the
Do you find you're using or choosing mics differently now that we're working in the digital domain?
yeah, I think so. I've gone more toward the, you know, warmer sounding microphones and
Right.
ribbons, more natural sounds. Yeah, I try to. I even have an old EMT plate here. I try to do as much as I can to get an analog aesthetic going, you know. And I had one head of a record company come here after I did an acoustic album, mostly acoustic album, and he said, "Where's the tape machine?" And that was a big compliment,
Right.
because there wasn't any, you know. And I find that without over tweaking and using the right mics, you don't have to, you know, you can get more of an analog sound. You don't have to, you know, you can blame the platform to a degree. There's a certain dimension, obviously, that tape gives you that digital doesn't, but for the most part, it's pretty great. And I really don't miss, you know, harmonic distortion, tape speed going off you know, all those boulders, those Baez boulders and all that stuff. People have a romantic memory of tape, but there was a lot of bad stuff
Yeah,
too.
right. Yep.
But yeah, as far as the selection of mics, you know, go for stuff that, you know, go for a little more warmth and you know, try to stay away from harsh top end type things, and you know, try to make it, you know, without being lo-fi, you know, sound natural and good.
Well, tell us about, I know you worked with Susan Tedeschi recently.
With Susan, she's a wonderful singer and guitar player, songwriter, and she, what really was shining for that project was the 100s on for her guitar sound. She was very particular on that, and her and her husband Derek, you know, they've
Derek Trucks.
Derek Trucks have
Right.
accumulated, you know, a collection of amps and guitars and style and sound that they want, that's mainly in the vintage range, you know, you know, deluxe Fenders, you know, Vibraluxes, Super Deluxe that runs, and you have to record that well to make it all come across, because she really prides herself in her guitar sound as well as her fantastic, you know, voice.
Amazing singer.
Amazing voice. And so I didn't, you know, just throwing a 57 up there wasn't cutting it, and I wanted more, and the 100 really gave us a little more beef to the sound, and as well as all great top end, and I found also that different applications, you know, off the cone, right close or far away. Sometimes the far away sound was just exactly what she was hearing in her head,
Right.
and it worked out really, really great.
So when you used the 100 on Susan amps, were you using it by itself or combining it with something
I
else?
actually was using it by itself.
Yeah?
Yeah. There was maybe one or two songs where we did solos, and I had some room mic things going on. But the favorite sound of everybody's was the 100, just like a few feet off the amplifier.
Cool.
And getting both, they were combo amps predominantly with a couple speakers. So it would just be
Kind of in between the two.
in between getting,
Right.
getting the two, yeah. And it worked really great. Real knucklehead way of miking, but sometimes the obvious is the best, and you don't mess with it.
Right.
You know?
Right.
That's what I found, yeah.
Cool. So what's next for David Bianco?
Working on a couple different things. I'm going to be mixing a few different projects. I'm in the process of finishing up a local band that's an alt-country rock progressive band called Leslie and the Badgers.
Oh, I know about them. Yeah.
And they're local favorites here, and they're just getting ahead of steam, and they're fantastic. And Leslie Stevens is a wonderful singer-songwriter. She's got a great band behind her, and that's what I'm going to be just finishing up after this.
And actually, I brought you a pair of the 201 FETs, our new solid state
I can't wait to try 'em.
large diaphragm condenser, because you haven't had your hands on those yet.
No, and I've been hearing a lot about it.
Well, a funny thing that's happening, especially for like really aggressive rock stuff, is some of the guys that are diehard MA200 users for drum overheads are putting up the 201s and liking little extra aggressiveness they have. Like the
Nice.
snare comes up a little bit.
Okay.
So I don't know what your approach is, but a lot of guys, when they put the overheads, they want to get a nice full
Oh yeah.
picture of the kit and then add
Yeah.
everything to that.
Yeah.
You know, and the 201s are giving them that. So a lot of guys are moving their 200s out to the room and putting the 201s overhead.
Well, I'll
And
definitely.
of course, trying those 100s on toms, they're just fantastic.
if they take a licking.
Absolutely. Well, the 100s and the 201 FETs are about 6 dB less sensitive than the 200s.
Great.
So they're really great for really loud stuff. So you can stick it right up on a tom or a guitar amp like you did without
Right.
a lot of problems or having to pat it down a bunch. you know.
Excellent.
And the 200s work so great for more sensitive things, so they work great. You know, they're awesome on overheads, but they work great out
Can
in
you use
the
them on
room.
a kick drum?
You can use the 201 FET really well on a kick drum or a bass guitar amp.
That,
So if you don't have a 47 FET in your mic locker
I don't. At the
and you like that approach,
yeah.
put the 201 FET there and add it to
Beautiful.
maybe a dynamic that's closer to the beater and
Beautiful.
really great
Oh,
sound.
That sounds great.
So we'll expect you to report back on that.
Okay.
Give us an excuse to come back.
You got it.
All right, well, thanks, David.
My
Great
pleasure.
talking to you.
Thank you.
Adios, amigos.